So we're going to talk about being more involved in your decisions, learning new skills, and then we're going to talk a little bit about mistakes, because I want you to know that you're going to try some things and they're going to work, you're going to try other things and they're not going to work, and that's okay, because we still learn from those. And it's an opportunity. We might need to try again, we might need to try something different. But we're going to let's start with page 59, because we're going to do some activities. And we picked two big ones, and I'm going to look for input from you guys, because you have different experiences than I do. Does anyone here currently live on their own? Or are they looking to live on their own? Who here wants to live on their own? None of you guys want to live with your parents your whole life? Come on, you kidding?
Sooner or later, yeah.
Sooner or later, okay. Not right now. You guys want to live with your parents the rest of your life? I'm surprised. My dad's great, but you know. All right, so let's talk about right to decide your living arrangements. Is there only one type of living arrangement? Let's talk about a place to live. What types of places can you live? Right? Apartment, condos. I don't know the difference. Do you know what's the difference what's the difference between apartment and condo? I don't know. Townhouse, your own home. Right? That's right. That's right. Tiny homes. Have you guys seen those tiny home shows? You want a tiny home? They look. Yeah, they're super cute, right? It's like your money goes a whole lot farther. That's what they tell me, but I don't think I could live in a tiny home because I need a lot of space. Yeah, I could do a tiny home for my shoe collection, my jewelry and stuff, but like I need space for activities. But they're super cute and I want one. I just want to go stay in one for a little while, but I think I would talk myself out of it. But all right, so now this activity is intended to help you guys, because let's face it, I would love to live in a palace, right? But I can't. Why can't I live in a palace? Don't say it's because I'm not royal, because that's not true. So why can't I live in a palace?
You gotta have money. You gotta have money.
That's right. In this brief period of time, they realized I'm broke. So, right, I can't live in a palace because I don't have the money. So again, with making decisions comes responsibilities, and that talks about us needing to make educated decisions. There are plenty of beautiful places that I want to live, but they don't work for me. And so these activities are, especially if you're interested in living on your own or living in your own place in the future, these activities will kind of help you hone in on what might work for you. So we talked about a couple of different types of places, right? What else do we need to think about when moving somewhere?
Weekly expenses.
Weekly expenses. Perfectly said, right? Money. Budget. Because it's not just paying for your house, right? What else does it cost to live on your own? Anybody? Electric bill, water. Anyone here like cable and internet? Or you guys just want to live in your own place with no influence from the outside world? All you need is Wi-Fi, but you got to pay for the internet. You got to pay for the internet to get Wi-Fi, unless you're going to try and take it from your neighbors, and they hate that. They password protect. Believe you me, I've tried. My neighbors have a strong password and firewall up, so I can't get it. I have to pay for my own internet. Right? Netflix? No, that's true, right? Because it's
Wi-Fi, Netflix.
That's it? That's all you need?
That's all you need.
But you need electricity, right? You need running water? Are any of you guys zombies, or do you like to eat?
I like to eat.
You like to eat, right? So we need to we got to pay for food, right? Who likes to sit at home for the rest of their life and never go out and do anything fun?
I can do that.
You can do that?
I can't do that.
You're going to save a lot of money. I like to go out with friends. I like to go to the movies. I like to shop, right? Let's call that fun money, discretionary income, whatever you want to call it. Money for things that are not what we need to live. Cleaning supplies, because everybody loves cleaning their own place, right? Taking care of our house, right? How about whether or not we look at our money and decide whether or not we can even live by ourselves. Because I can guarantee you, for most people, when you hit 18, you need a roommate or 2 or 3, right? How many people did you have in your suite? 3? Yeah, you have 4-person suite, right, in college. That'll teach you a lot about yourself and how high your tolerance is and how terrible other people can be. But you might realize that you need to share, right? That your budget doesn't allow for it. What about if you like pets? You need a pet-friendly place, right? There's some places that won't let you bring your animals. It's a home for animals. So some of these activities are meant to kind of help you with that. What about transportation?
Yes.
Gas,
It's
Bike.
right? You can ride a bike, but then you're going to want to figure out where you want to live, right? Because what if you live here, but your job is 30 miles away, right? You found this beautiful, great apartment, lets you live by yourself. You can have your iguana or whatever you want to put in there, right? And then you realize that it's going to take you forever to get there on your bike. So maybe it's not a good place, right? So we need to be realistic. If we have a job, we need to look at transportation. Maybe you don't have a car. Does anyone here already have a car? Do you own it outright? Are you own it outright? You own it 100%?
what? No.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you know, my mom owns
Well, when
it.
she got it, I wasn't 18 yet. But then
Yeah, because also we have monthly expenses, right? So for me, I just got a new car last March. Yeah.
The first thing I did when I turned 18 was buy my own place, so I learned a lot about what to do with my money.
Yeah. What'd you learn? Tell me about it.
not to buy a place.
You could be dead broke.
Yeah, you need that. I learned the same thing. Yeah.
Would you repeat what you said?
Yeah, he said that when he turned 18, he learned a lot because he bought his own place. I asked him what he learned. He said he learned you can be dead broke pretty quick, right? Yeah, because it's amazing because you don't realize those small payments, right, that kind of add up. Things like, just being able, like, I swear, I thought there was a toilet paper fairy. I thought just someone for 18 years came in and poof, there was always toilet paper there. I never saw my parents buying toilet paper, but unless they know the toilet paper fairy, I'd like them to refer me. But I didn't realize, like, I have money for rent, I got cable water, like, I got some money for gas. Ramen goes a long way. If you haven't gotten, you can do a lot of stuff with ramen, right? Like, I can make a ramen look amazing. I can make a ramen look like a 5-star meal. So what we're talking about is when we're looking at making our own decisions, one way to surefire get people to not take you seriously is to shoot unrealistic expectations into the air. Like, let me tell you what I'm gonna buy. I found a 5-bedroom penthouse. Oh, marble everywhere. Let me bring my dog because I don't care, because the monthly rent is like 25 grand. And my dad will look at me, and it might take 2 or 3 seconds, and then he will start laughing, and the tears will come rolling down his face because he knows that I can't afford that, right? So when we want to be making decisions, we want to be active and participating, we want to do our research. We want to be able to say that we've thought about these things. And it helps if you bounce it off someone who's been there, and you've been there, right? So now you can say, I know what worked for me, I know what didn't work for me, and for me it was trial and error. My first place, when I was 18 years old in college, was a 4-bedroom townhouse in Tallahassee with 10 people in it.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it was. It was also really fun, but also really ridiculous. I can guarantee you we did not budget 1 penny for cleaning supplies, and it wouldn't have done a thing. The only thing you could do was burn that thing to the ground. But we had 10 people in there, and we did that math, and it was like $120 rent a person. Yeah.
For some reason, I bought a Gucci couch and that didn't work out.
Yeah, but you had, yeah, you bought a Gucci couch? I did that too. I bought a pair of Prada heels, and then I had to figure out how to pay rent. I've been there.
I was doing all design.
You had all designer stuff, and then you have to look at your budget, right? So what's one of the ways that we can make a good argument for being more active and determining your living arrangement is making a budget. And it's the most boring activity. They pay us to do this for a living. It's terrible. It's really terrible to sit down and take money and say, let's spend it here, let's spend it here. But let me tell you, it is a super, super humbling experience. Because when you sit there and you think to yourself, I got $1,500 this month. It's a good, healthy amount. I figured out that I'm going to spend $650 rent because I found a place I can share with people and I have a roommate. I know that's going to cost $100 here for utilities because it's all included, and $50 for the internet because we're going to split it, and let's do $75 for gas, and everything starts looking good until you start remembering, oh yeah, I have Netflix, like I got to pay for that, right? Like that's a monthly payment. I have a World of Warcraft recurring subscription price, that the $14 a month, you got to pay for that. You got to pay for every Thursday night you guys go out for pizza, right? Every Thursday night they go out for pizza, so I want to put that in there. And then I also have to remember that I eat every other day other than just Thursday, so we got to put the food in there. Before you know it, all of a sudden you're looking at this and you're like, how'd I get to $2,600? I only have $1,500. I need to make realistic goals and expectations, right? So here's some activities that we came up with, and maybe you guys can come up with other ones. I would encourage you to do this, even if you already have a place of your own. I would encourage you to do this. It is a super humbling activity, and what's really nice is also if you are, what's the term that you guys use? Responsible adult. You can figure out how much that you can set aside for savings. I don't even have one of those things. How much you want to set aside for a savings account, right? So you can say, okay, I know that I can do this. I can have this much money I can spend every month and kind of fun stuff, whatever other things I want. And then this is how much I'm going to set aside. And then say, now I want to set other goals. I want to buy a bigger TV. I want to get season tickets to the Heat. Expensive, right? I don't know how much it is. Expensive. I would only get season tickets to the Rockets. It's my new team. I'm a big Rockets fan. I don't care what anyone says. So as you go along, you're going to want to take a minute and try and figure out what works for you. You're going to want to research various places. And let me tell you something. If you haven't been on an apartment tour yet, you should definitely do it because they treat you like a king and a queen because they really want you to move in there. So, but you should go visit every place before you go, right? We don't just look at pictures online and assume it's great. How many of you guys have looked at pictures online of a hotel and then you got there to stay there and you're like, oh, this is not what the picture said. It smells like chlorine. Something just ran across the floor, right? But I looked at the pictures and it looked really, really nice, right? It also helps going there because let's say that you have a job that starts at 6 in the morning and you go there and you realize it's really loud and you need to sleep. So certainly you want to do your research. You want to look up, you want to know ahead of time what you're looking for, what you can afford. If you're looking for a roommate, you want to find somebody that you're compatible with. And compatible can be good or bad for both of you. So what was great is my best friend who works with us too, his name is Quentin. We lived together for like, I don't know how many years, like 4 or 5 years. We were compatible in that neither of us cleaned and neither of us cared. It was perfect. No, we lived in a sea of our own filth and nobody cared. No one said anything, but if I lived with my now husband, we wouldn't have been great roommates at the time because he's meticulously clean. He scrubs baseboards on the weekends. He takes like little Clorox wipes and like wipes everything down until you can eat off the surface. So he wouldn't have wanted to live with me when I was 18 years old. So compatibility, right? Visit places, talk to residents. Pretty important if you want to go and say, what's it like over here? You want to look at transportation. If you're going to take the bus places, you want to look at how far away that is. Match up your budget with the places you liked. I have a list of places I liked and I will never live there because my budget is never going to align with those. And then you might want to identify what other resources it is that you need. Okay? So now I live here. I know that I'm going to need a bike because I'm close enough to bike to where I need to be. I'll make sure I have my bike. I want to make sure that I have all this other stuff lined up that I'm going to need to live by myself. This one I'm going to throw to you guys. The fun one. When I turned 18, my dad cared about being able to choose his own doctor. When I turned 18, I cared about one thing. Money. Mine. It's my money and I need it now. Right? So let's talk about it. Let's talk about decisions, about making monetary decisions. And if you guys want to look at this is on page 73. And we just jumped around. And we have an activity, we have something in the workbook for every single one of those rights. So if one jumps out to you, we have something in there that might help you. Let's say you're looking at driver's license. Let's say that you are exploring the ever fun, exciting world of governmental benefits. I know, it's really fun. Social Security and Medicaid and all of those things. We have things in here that might help you, okay? But we picked some of the more actual fun ones. So let's talk about managing money. You guys see this little chart at the bottom? It says income received. Does anyone know what? So the word income is monies that you receive, right? So what we did was we gave you a little place where you could write down and make your own budget. And while it doesn't seem fun, we made a suggestion on the next couple of pages as to those kind of things that you might not have been thinking about that cost money, right? Go ahead and turn the page and take a look at them and tell me if there's anything that you guys can see that we're missing. See clothes on here, haircuts. For me, it's extensions. I'm gonna factor in my extensions. Anybody else? Entertainment. Cell phone. Who here wants to live without a cell phone? I would sooner live without a place. Would you really? You could do it without a cell phone? No, I couldn't either.
For real.
Really? How do you live? I can't without a cell phone. I have to have my cell phone because, like, if it's not in the corner of my eye, then I panic. Like, I just assume. I take my cell phone everywhere with me. Same? Yeah. Yeah, I can't live without it. So.
And that's all money you owe your parents.
I like to call that the ATM. That's the IOU pile?
No, parents.
Parents. Mom's. That's on there. That should be on there. It's not on there, but it should be on there. We should add that. So, then we need to talk about some of the responsibilities that go along with managing our money, right? So now we've made a budget. Awesome. Let's pretend in our dream world that we stay within our budget. It doesn't happen. Never happens. But let's pretend in our dream world that we stay within our budget. Now let's talk about bills. I don't remember, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't remember paying bills prior to being age 18. Did you guys pay any of your own bills?
I pay bills on my
Nah.
What bills do you pay? Like cell phone and stuff like that?
My cell phone bill. I help them water bill.
Whew. You're like miles ahead of me. I couldn't even figure out where to go. I was like, yeah. I really don't remember actually having to pay a bill prior to being age 18, and no one really told me how to do it. I knew I had to do it. I knew at some point, like, someone was going to come and collect on me because I was taking stuff and not paying for it, right? So I knew I had to pay my bills. How long? 16? See, I wish. And my parents made it look so easy, right? That I didn't even see them do it. They just went about their lives, and somehow no one came chasing us down saying, "Where's my money?" But let me tell you, this is a prime place that we see a lot of young adults make mistakes. And let me tell you where mine was. I don't know if any of you guys had it. Credit cards. Anybody? Anybody have a credit card? Not a debit card, a credit card. Yeah. What I like to call the unlimited money card. I know I have no money. They seem to tell me that I have money. Right? Credit cards are a place that a bunch of people make a lot of mistakes. A lot of kind of long-term mistakes. Things that they can end up paying off for a long period of time.
I tell you, credit card, you only spend like 20%.
See, I learned that like a year ago. I had no idea. Like, I thought that I had this. Yeah, somebody told me this. I didn't realize this. You're only supposed to spend a certain percentage of your credit card limit and then pay it off. Like, I thought, oh, I got this under control. I'm going to max that sucker out, and then I'm going to pay the whole thing off, and that looks great, right? Like, because, like, I spent it all, and then I paid it all off, and I look great. It's like, no, that's hurting my credit score, which I also didn't know I had one of those either. So, for what it's worth. So, when we're talking about managing money, it's okay to make mistakes, but we want to be mindful of what the ramifications, what the consequences are for making those mistakes. Because what happens when you tank your credit score?
No one trusts.
Nobody trusts you. Nobody trusts you. And it's a point in time, it's all the money people telling each other, this is how much you cannot trust this person until you earn that trust back, right? Until you build that trust back. So making mistakes is okay. Is it going to kill you if you bounce a check? And I love this because they like to use the bouncing a check thing. I can honestly tell you that I don't think as an adult I've written a check because everything was on debit cards and credit cards, right? But you can bounce checks. Will it kill you? No. Can you get in a lot of trouble for it? You can, especially if you do it on purpose. And what can happen? Yeah.
One mistake I made, like, I always wrote a check every week and I never balanced it, so I made a really bad mistake.
Yeah. And when I was growing up, I would watch people, it's called Balancing Your Checkbook, and there's a page at the top of your checkbook where you knew how much you had, and you had to, every time you wrote a check or you got money, you would write it on there on your little ledger. I thought it was crazy. I thought it was like the craziest. I would write so tiny and put the thing in there, because unlike now, right, I do all of my stuff online. If I use my card, I can go on my phone instantaneously and they can tell me how much money I have left. Back then, it was a guessing game. I know that you all were better about balance. Like, I never balanced a thing in my life. I just scan the card until it tells me that I don't have any money left. I know you let me do the section and I don't know why. Like, I feel like any other person could have done right to manage money and property. You guys sent me up here, you knew what you were going to get. Right? So then what we want to talk about here is this is a place where it took me too long to learn that I should talk to my parents about it, talk to my dad about it, talk to my husband about it. He's a whole lot better than I am because he doesn't like to have fun with money. So he likes to save for future. I like to have fun right now. But talking to my parents and be like, I had no idea. So you can absolutely invite people in to help you. And one of the things that I also realized was I went to the bank and I didn't ask a lot of questions. Because it's kind of intimidating. They're all suits, right? They're all buttoned up in their suits. They're walking around looking really serious, and I don't want to seem silly and ask a silly question, but at the end of the day, they want my money. And they want me to bank there. And it's your money, and you should be able to ask questions, and you need to be knowledgeable about these things. It's really important, right? You want to know, what kind of account do I have? What can and can't I do? What happens if I spend more than I have? Some banks say, don't worry, you're not going to be able to do that. My bank's like, oh yeah, you can do that. For every time you do that, we're going to charge you $35. right? So I overdraw my account, and now I'm overdrawn plus $35. And if I do it again, it's just gonna keep going in the hole. And also, not only every single time I overdraw is at $35, but every day that I don't get it back, it's another $35. So that, it adds up really fast, right? I would love to change banks. I'm also extremely lazy, and it direct deposits into my bank, and I've thought about it. I was like, oh, I should change. Haven't done it yet. I have full intentions of it since about 2014. You can also choose not to use a bank. There's credit unions. You can go survivor style and hoard them in little tins and bury them in your yard and forget where you bury them. There's some people, one of my friend's dads was like that. He used to take all his money, he would cash it out, he would put them in coffee tins, and he would bury them in the yard. And when we were really desperate, we would go dig those things up. Because that was his savings plan. So then let's talk a little bit about an inventory. Do you guys know what an inventory is? It's a what? It's a list of everything you got that has value, right? I might make a guesstimate about how much my clothes are worth. It's actual dollar value worth, not how much it's worth emotionally to you, because then my clothes have no value, they're priceless. But we're talking about an inventory of items that we have and what the value is. Why is that important? Because when you want to protect those things, there's insurance for those items, right? Especially if you bought a really expensive, really nice designer couch.
Yeah, where is that couch? Did you sell it?
Yeah, 4,200.
Whew.
Yeah, but
Oh, good deal.
See, that was a good economic decision. Yeah, you're not kidding. I saw my stuff for like a tenth of the price. I want something right then. I'm terrible. I'll take some notes from you. And when you're learning about managing your property, the best thing that you can do is try and get it all down in one place, if I can give you one piece of advice. When we're talking about budgets, when we're talking about inventory, and we're talking, you'll see it under part 4 under next steps, which is on page 79. Talks about record keeping. They talk about all of your receipts. I take receipts usually and ball them up, or I keep them in case I have gum. And I spit my gum in them, and then I ball them up, and then I throw them away. You keeping receipts is a good accounting, and let me tell you, I have had to keep receipts for this job. Because for this job, it's the first time that they want to see all of the receipts that you spent. And again, very humbling experience to see how many times you spend money on things that you don't need. So, looking at these different activities, figure out if there's an activity up here that really matters a lot to you.